had a lot of people ask me how I apply my nails, so I decided I'd make a quick video using things that pretty much everyone has around their house, and that's how I do it. So the first thing you want to do is take a little cuticle pusher stick and push back the cuticles on your nails. So you do that real quick, push them back, and then grab a cotton ball and some rubbing alcohol, and you just put a little rubbing alcohol on the cotton ball and clean your nail real good. You want to make sure there's no oils on your nail, otherwise the jam won't stick to your nail. So after you clean your nail really well, then you take a buffer. You can find those in almost any manicure pack. I know the dollar store has some little manicure packs that you could pick up, and you can find a little buffer in there, and you just buff your nail out really well. So once you've got your nail buffed out, you are good to go. So then, the next thing you do is to take your wrap, your sheet of wraps, and figure out which wrap is going to work best on that nail you're doing. You'll typically see that it's not good for a wrap to touch your skin because you won't get a good seal on the nail. And that is true. If it's touching the skin, the wrap won't stick to your nail as well, but I have found that I can trim the wrap a little bit if it is touching my skin with these little baby fingernail clippers. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is pick out a wrap, and I'm going to use the second biggest one for my thumb. It'll be a little bit big, but then you'll be able to see how I trim it with the fingernail clippers. So I pull it up, and I take my little scissors, and I cut it kind of down the middle of the wrap, see here like this, and then I take my handy little tweezers here, and I hold the wrap like this. Okay. Then I take a flat iron, which most people have a flat iron. Now at no point am I going to use a flat iron to touch my nail, to touch the actual wrap. I don't want to burn myself, and I'm not the most graceful person in the world, so I am just going to squeeze the flat iron like this and heat the wrap up. And you can see it start to bend and get a little flexible as the heat energy from the flat iron makes its way into the wrap. Oh, this would be a great science lesson for my third graders. Okay, so once you have got it nice and heated up, then I take that wrap and I'm going to stick it to my finger, okay? So, or my thumb this time. Alright, so I'm going to stick it on my thumb, and I'm going to bump it up to my cuticle, and I'm going to push it down. And this one has a little metallic sheen to it, it looks like, which I think is very pretty. Okay, so then I take this little cuticle pusher, and I use that to give a really good seal onto the nail. See, I'm just pushing it down, I'm applying pressure. Now if you look closely, you can see where it's actually touching my skin. And that would be a very bad thing for me to leave it that way because it'll just peel right off. So I'm going to take it and I'm just kind of going to push this down to make sure it's on my nail really well. And I'm now going to take these scissors and clip and go ahead and trim this nail or not the nail, I'm sorry. I'm going to trim the wrap as close to the nail as I can. See? You can see how it's kind of rough and along the edges there. But my next step is to, okay, once I've done that, I'm just going to take it and like push it so that it's kind of bending over my nail. And then I take, you'll see a lot of videos tell you to use a rice pack. Well, I didn't have a rice pack, but what I did have was one of my daughter's socks, and I filled it with rice, and then I heat that up in the microwave for about 30 seconds. It gets nice and hot, and I just use that to create a nice seal to my nail. I just take it, I push it, it's nice and hot. I push it on there for a few seconds, you know, just get it nice and sealed to the nail. Okay, And I like to use something like this because almost everybody has rice in their house, and almost everybody has socks. That's okay. So, and I'm really frugal and a little bit cheap. And so I wanted to show people how they could apply the nails without really spending any extra money, just using things that are in your house. So, okay, so the next step is once you've got a good seal on your nail with the rice pack and you've heated the nail up, the next step for me is to take my clippers and to clip along anywhere that the wrap is touching the skin. If it's kind of touching my cuticles a little bit, I'm going to trim along there so that it's not touching my cuticles anymore. And you can see a nice, so that way I've got a nice seal, and at no point, nowhere do I have, is it touching my skin. It's nice. Doesn't take very long. And the next thing I do is take this file. You don't want to do much with this file. I just barely file the edges down just a tad. You don't want to do much with it though. If you start filing like you would normally file your nails, your wrap is just going to pop right off. The edges will kind of start to pop up and curl up, and then it'll just peel right off. Water will get under there, and it'll come right off. So here's my little clippers. I'm going to try and clip again where the nail is right here to make sure I don't have any extra wrap sticking off, because if I have too much wrap sticking off, like I said, it's easy for it to start popping up. But there we go, and we're finished. Completely done. I've got one wrap on. I've got all the rest to do, but I will not bore you with those details. Thanks.